Being in the finals in Toronto would be a dream come true for me. I've never expected to play in my hometown ever, and being in Toronto just feels like home to me, and I really want to win where it matters to me.
Well, they've got a chance to do so, of course. They've got one game in the semifinal, but the problem for Immortals is they are down 2-1 right now. C9 defying many expectations, playing incredibly good League of Legends. Impact specifically just playing off his rocker right now, crushing it in the top lane. And Wild Turtle's got to find 2 more wins if they want to get back in this one.
Yeah, and there's a lot of criticism actually on Impact during the regular season. Like, this guy's a role player, you know, he's not able to actually carry them ever. It's like they weren't giving him resources, and now they've given him some, but also he's just creating his own advantages too.
Yeah, and that to me is the real story. The fact that this guy is not getting resources, he's getting camp, and he's smashing. He's absolutely smashing against 2 of the best players in the whole league in Huni and Rainover.
Yeah.
And it's just been incredible, and what a series from this guy to watch is just amazing.
He's like possessed by Season 3 Impact. It's like, he's back, boys.
Yeah, honestly, you saw the scoreline down there. He was -1 minion kill at 10 minutes, and then +36 at 20. Like, this was how much he catastrophically destroyed the top lane matchup once it came down to the mid game. One good thing went his way, and he broke the game open.
And think about how those later game team fights went. If Impact had not put his team in that position, everything else was really equal. And you saw that it took a long time. That was the longest game we've had in this series, over 45 minutes, and multiple inhibitors down. If he wasn't in that position, the Kennen is equal to everybody else. Those team fights don't go your way, and Immortals end up having an advantage.
Absolutely agree. If he doesn't depress the Kennen, that backline gets evaporated.
Yeah, we saw in that last team fight just how much damage Kennen was actually finally doing once he had picked up, I think, his Void Staff. So it was pretty massive, but we are getting on into the draft here in the 4th and potentially final game here. If Cloud9 takes it, they are 1 win away from the NALCS Finals.
And we start seeing a few adaptations now in this one. C9, of course, choosing blue siders as their prerogative for Game 4. The Vlad and Rumble bans are to remain. And you can see now a few new pickups for Immortals. They don't want to let him play the blind pick Syndra, and no Sivir now for Sneaky. Going to be very big.
And one of the biggest things that I've seen from Cloud9 when they've lost their games is Jensen gets camped, and Jensen doesn't get off the ground. Immortals may actually try to target Jensen a little more with the Syndra ban and the champion select and see who they save that final pick for counter pick.
I'm really excited to see if Rainover is going to change up what he's doing, right? Do you still go back to camping for Huni, you know, when it has not worked these last couple of games? And we heard it on the analyst desk talking about, hey, what about Pobelter? Pobelter has been a rock for this team. He's actually been one of the very best mid laners in all the NALCS. 2nd team all NALCS. You know, this guy has deservedly played amazing, but finally, Trundle left open. They immediately first pick it.
Wow, and you could not lock Gangplank faster here in this one. Also, the Talia that was so heavily respected before, being first picked, being banned away, because these teams are starting to target ban each other a bit more. These champions that were hotly contested earlier on now snatched up as fast as possible. The Tahm Kench, the Gangplank, the Talia. Very new look for both sides.
I'm expecting to see Ashe here for Cloud9. I think that with the Sivir ban, Ashe Tahm Kench has been a bot lane that has been extremely effective for them, and it's something that they really like to play around. You have Ashe to help push in, you can bully under the turret, so you can avoid the weak points of Tahm Kench those early couple levels.
It's actually interesting because you can pick the Ashe now, but you could also go for Jhin, and they can't pick Ashe. Because if they pick Ashe, you have Tahm Kench to eat the person that eats the arrow, and it's that big counter pick with the Sivir ban coming through.
And it looks like that's exactly what they're going to go for, so good call.
Yeah, they might have to pick Ashe after all anyway. I say have to, just he's also known for Ezreal. There's plenty of good champions out there, but if you play according to tier list, just pick what people think is popular and think is the best. Ashe is a generic pick here, but if they want to go for something more focused, something sharper, they could go something else.
One thing that this does leave you opened up to, though, is to get pushed on very heavily, right? If you take a range support, something that Adrian is very happy to play, and you put that in combination with the Ashe, you can outpush the Jhin early. You can sometimes get shoved in, get bullied out a little bit in these early levels. So although it is going to be very effective as far as team fighting in later stages, you have to worry about getting a bit behind early.
I think they need Taric here or something, right? Play tank into tank, play a frontlaner. You can't rely just on Rainover to do it. And Taric, I think, finding a melee matchups.
Yeah, I think you actually get your jungler here. You go for, I would assume, a Gragas for Rainover.
Not going to be the look. Elise for other kinds of early game pressure. Also high damage dealer. Interesting because they've got a squishy top laner, a squishy mid laner, high damage champion. So they just add more damage to the fire and hope to one-shot somebody, but they're against Tahm Kench. which makes me a bit worried for them.
To me, they're indexing extremely heavily towards picks, right?
Yep.
And that's what Tom Benchik succeeds into, like your points, Irene, and like you, Free. But I mean, they have Cocoon, they have Ash Arrow, they have the Talia Surf, they have the Global Ultimate from Gangplank. So to my mind, you have GP farming 1v1 in the top side, and then you look for picks elsewhere on the map.
Everybody is pretty much playing off of their tier list, but different tier list right now because Impact is going off to the Korean top lane right now. Gnar and Echo, highly banned over there in Korea in the LCK, drops down to that champion, and this, against the Gangplank, it can put a lot of pressure on him.
I'm really interested that he did not actually pick Gnar, though, because Gnar is really good in Gangplank as well.
Kill the barrel.
And he's been crushing on Gnar, and generally when you get that Frozen Mallet, you can really start to take over. We saw it in ULCS, we saw it in a number of games, and I am very surprised that he did not decide to go for that.
It's something that they valued very highly, though. It was banned back in Game 1 by Immortals. Their very first ban of the series was Echo, respecting what Impact had done on the champion. And yes, he did go for Gnar in the last game, but decides I'd rather have this for the matchup. From what I've heard from top laners, GP Gnar is somewhat of a skill matchup. Maybe Echo looks a little bit better. I've seen it work very well because as soon as Echo gets ahead, you could just dive the Gangplank over and over and over again. So if Impact does get help, Huni's going to die a lot.
And this draft, I really like it from Reaper. I think that all around, they've drafted for some globals here with the Rek'Sai as well as having the Tahm Kench. People are just going to show up so quickly, and with the Lissandra into the Talia, you equal her wave clear early on. You don't get as shoved in. You can kind of counter that, but you get to take teleport, and she has to take cleanse. So her roam will be a little bit slower there if you want to make those picks and have those fights.
Yeah, it's going to come down, I think, in these team fights a lot to how effective the Taric ulti is as well, because if you can get that down, if you can survive the burst of the champions like the Echo, like the Lissandra, you can really start to turn things around.
Yeah, and the Taric kind of supplements not having a tank on this squad, and that's why they went with the Elise there. They're going for early pressure. If Reignover can start snowballing the game and take it into his own hands, maybe that sets up Immortals here to bring it to a Game 5.
As long as they don't get one shot, it could look good, but here we go. The fourth game about to begin as Cloud9 takes on Immortals. C9 are one game away from their 5th North American LCS Finals performance in 8 splits as a team.
And it would be Jensen's first finals. It would be Impact, somebody that people were saying, washed up top laner from Korea, world champion, sure, former world champion. Meteos coming back to competitive after streaming for a while and stepping away from the game. And then Smoothie. Smoothie was an auto-relegated support on a 10th place team. And then he was benched from Liquid for a rookie in Matt. And then he got picked up by Cloud9, had to compete for his spot. And he has just been performing phenomenally. Everybody on Cloud9 have been doing so well throughout the split, and especially today.
Absolutely. Meteos coming back into the lineup, to correct myself, 5 splits, 5 potential finals in 7 splits as a team. They missed spring 2013, of course, but they joined in the LCS and then won 2 in a row, and then lost in the finals twice in a row, and then didn't make finals twice in a row, and now they're maybe here to reset the cycle, basically.
Minions have spawned.
And a lot of this is, they're kind of fighting with history. C9 had been such a successful team in the past, and this new iteration of Cloud9 has not seen that kind of success. It had been the first iteration of Cloud9 to not even make playoffs, let alone make a finals. And, and now they are battling for that playoff spot and for that final spot.
I think scrutiny from the public was, where's High? High has always been the brand of Cloud9. He has been the shot caller. He's been having all those memes about him. But now, without that, they are poised to make a finals without him, because Reaper has turned almost everybody on this team into a leader.
Ooh, can he get it with the volley?
Auto, and not going to time it right. Wild Turtle needed to wait for one more auto attack to come through from C9. Either way, no invade really works out here. C9 getting all the resources they needed, and they're even going to get all the minions. How many are they going to lose? Ooh, I think they missed some XP. If Wild Turtle, Wild Turtle missed at least 1 from experience. He's not level 2, and he would have been otherwise. There's Smoothie eating up the stun, saying, don't you dare. My AD carry's going to be fine.
But yeah, Turtle doesn't get anything at the start of the game, and Sneaky got both parts of the Krug, so he got really far ahead. He hit level 2 and was trying to zone them off. Wow. Immortals won't hit level 2 until next wave.
Have to wait a little while as it pushes in towards their turret. Looks like a little bit difficult. Relic shield stacks being used, and
end of this one, and they'll end up getting it. No, that's the second in Huni.
Yeah, gotta be careful. I really do think Echo can be a great matchup here, getting attacked back and forth. You saw Bandit for 10 gold. Knockup's gonna land a lot of damage into Jensen. Thankfully for him, there were some minions in the way. That cannon almost saving his life. Would have been a couple hundred health lower. Meteos trying to fight Rainover for the red buff, hiding in the brush.
He's just trying
to
up. Tilt him. Look at this.
Walks forward. Q, Knockup, Smite's gonna go through. Rainover didn't get the damage that he needed. Meteos says, thanks for the red buff, I'm gonna walk away now. Peace.
And that's big. Meteos comes in and ends up just stealing it away. Now Impact gets the play. Rainover is getting pressure.
The Knockup looks for the W. Rainover gonna get stunned if he can't repel it. Instead, just decides to flash away to keep himself alive. That's gonna be Krugs going over.
Such an aggressive early start here from Cloud9 and putting the pressure onto Rainover. It's not someone you usually see the game being dictated to.
Yeah, Rainover, people are usually afraid to invade his jungle because he's so smart, and they're like, oh, he's got the Rainover buff. Just by being him, you get a little bit intimidated. But Pobelter looks like he doesn't want to go quietly into the night, like you said, and he's just trying to pressure him on this Taliyah. So quickly picked up the solo lanes were for Immortals.
On point. It always feels bad TPing into a Gangplank like this because you almost always get the barrel right off the bat like that. But either way, can get aggressive now on Huni.
Looking for a lot of damage. Look how low this Gangplank is getting. Eats the oranges, trades back. Impact quite low, and keep in mind, Impact just has to chug the potion. His teleport is down. Huni can TP back in.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Huni trades out his health before he leaves the lane, so he can come back at full health and look to bully. We'll see if Impact can actually get anything done here, though, before that happens.
Yeah, but it's a big cannon minion wave, so Huni, either he was going to back there and try to outwave clear, or now he's going to miss at least 2, maybe 3 minions on the recall.
There's always even the threat of a dive, but Meteos might have even been spotted. There was a ward by his Raptor Pit, so I think they knew about this. Looks like not a lot to be gained here. No dive going to be there. Huni will stay alive through this one, and I'm having a hard time calibrating the fact that Huni's the one who might get dove. Impact's the one who's probably going to get some help in this one with how the matchup looks. But it seems today not a lot going as expected.
This is really good by Jensen, too. Backs early, uses the teleport from Lissandra to get a Negatron cloak so that he can survive this matchup.
Not sitting on any potions, though, which is something that's a little bit dangerous. If you didn't get poked out here, can be tough. He has to respect that from Pobelter, and kind of sitting back as a result. Does not want to risk taking any bad trades.
Yeah, now Pobelter's going to shove out and get himself a nice back here.
Nicely played by Jensen. Perfect wave clear there. Knew which minions would be auto-attackable and which ones weren't. Gets the Q across. Nicely done. And then trying to last hit under turret is Lissandra. Watch that again. Load up the video.
Also, in the bot lane here, we have an early back for Sneaky. They're able to push it in. He's able to get that serrated Dirk and come right back to lane. And
I really like that, actually.
Yeah. I think it's smart, especially because Ashe wants to try to back on a BF generally, right? You want to have that later back timing, so he's going to be able to kind of push the issue here, especially if they can make Turtle stay around, but probably not going to be able to happen since Smoothie's off roaming.
I think it's the way the Turtle backs on. Adrian already doing that. Minions cleared away. About 1,600 gold on this Ashe, and we'll buy the pieces of inventory that he needs.
And this is always a little bit different, too, because if you back earlier and you get the wave shove on the duo lane, that actually frees up your support to go for an early roam before, because all you have to do is bring your AD carry down to bottom to catch the wave under turret. And we had seen Smoothie actually walk up towards the mid lane, and then he ended up walking back. But it gives him an opportunity to pull off a move like that.
Nice bouncing cartridge there. Gets rid of 4 of them. It's always nice when one gets set up for you is if the Q from Jhin last hits something, it deals bonus damage the next bounce. So if you properly warm up the wave, you can actually kill 4 with the Q. Jin's wave clear normally very weak. And Adrian actually not allowed to freeze the wave. He was pressured up by C9. Instead of roaming, they said, no, this wave has to crash. And it does mean a lot of experience lost by Ashe. Overall, though, the gold staying very close. Impact and Huni almost the same score. Meteos looking for the dive there towards Pobelter. Not in root range just yet. And great tenacity to not go for anything. Huni running low on health, though. Impact putting down what damage he can. Huni eating the oranges and hiding away. No stun on Sneaky. Good trade back on Adrian. Tarek running low on health. Yeah, he was an auto attack from getting devoured by Smoothie's Tom Kench, and that could have been a death if he didn't flash.
Oh, and Meteos knows exactly where Rainover is, so he can communicate that to the bottom side of the map. And now they're putting pressure onto Huni. Low on mana. Impact has been pressuring him over and over again. You can see even Dark Seal and the Corrupting Potion. Impact's just playing like a god today.
It really is. And look at the amount of vision on the top side right now. Meteos is really supporting Impact well this game. He got the early Sightstone, and he has been moving in, getting wards, allowing Impact the ability to play aggressively like that because he knows where his opponents are.
Whereas on the inverse side, Rainover just rushes Red Smite and looks like he's going to try to go for the entirety of the Runic Echoes before he gets a Sight Stone on release. And it's the Red Smite too, so he's just looking to actually kill people, and this is when he's incredibly aggressive.
Yeah, he may be going not even for a Sight Zone at all, and just going for the Proto Belt, the Rylai's. That build had been pretty popular for a while there, and people had been kind of reverting a bit more back to the Sight Zone, but it'll be interesting to see if he kind of just puts that faith in himself to hard carry in what could be their final game.
See what comes out of this one. So far, Impact's items looks like the pieces of a Sunfire cape. We'll see what it ends up actually being for himself. Picks up boosted speed, walks back up to the top side. Quick blue buff going to be handed over. 8 minutes in, it's respawned, and Pobelter going to have an easy time of that one. He can walk back in with some mana under his belt. This game, identical gold nearly for both these squads. Almost 9 minutes in on this one. Smoothie doesn't quite find the opening. Quick kill from Adrian. Wild Turtle, you can see the kind of poke that's available. Smoothie, honestly, as much as Tarek tends to be really good against melee because you can cast a spell, then get your empowered autos off on your opponent, Smoothie could just kidnap Adrian in a fight and carry him back to the team and have Meteos gank the guy. So it's actually, in some ways, a rough matchup to be the Tarek in because of the threat that Pumpkin provides.
They're putting pressure back onto Rainover, but just take a little bit of his jungle. Doesn't actually go towards the red there. And Meteos ulti towards the top side, and looks like it might be just to invade.
And look how good Impact is in these crates. Ults for a bit of health and wants to go back in, but takes a barrel to his face. Couldn't quite find the opening there with it. Wanted to make the play, didn't have it.
And a call for Huni, so he's just trying to survive now. He's trying to play the game that Impact was playing.
Playing the long con.
It just seems like Impact might be just better at surviving early, and we'll see. He's got a pretty big advantage already. 12 CS up.
Yeah. That said, with the call and the extra gold on the passive from the Q on Gangplank, you can get a lot of gold. You can catch up pretty quickly.
Yeah, rubber band right back in.
Sneaky got a bit hurt,
Nice
but now
route.
Wild Turtle's in a bad spot. Ulti gonna come in from Tarek, smartly done. And I don't know if he even turns invincible when that happens. Looks like the answer is yes. Didn't know that today, I learned. But now a quick slow coming across. Adrian running out of health rapidly. There's the jump in, and that's gonna be first blood. Impact gets it. Gets arrow, but it does not even matter. There's no follow-up damage left. Turtle low, Meteos behind, spotted up by Hawkshot.
Who else but Impact with the first blood?
The Elise coming down, Rainover to support Wild Turtle under restore. He feels safe, but it's going to be risky as Jensen has teleport. But Impact has chosen to recall, so it looks like the dive is not going to happen. Elise reveals herself, and there will be no dive. Wild Turtle will stay safe.
I'm interested to see when Pobelter tries to make the first roam on Talia. I've been pretty happy to just farm it out in the mid lane, and hasn't decided to use that semi-global ultimate just yet.
He's trying to play through the lane right now and trying to chunk out Jensen over and over again, but he hasn't been able to create a large enough advantage to roam. And right here, the ultimate will come down from Huni to try and break this fight up, but Wild Turtle flashes away, still gets kidnapped, and Pobelter.
Flash Q, good self-ult, gonna dodge most of the damage. Cocoon, what? That was a terribly timed flash Cocoon by Rainover. I don't know what that was, but it missed entirely, nothing picked up.
And Smoothie even ultied in just in case, and Jensen flashed away, but he may have been able to actually get picked up as well.
And then you take the Cocoon, and either way, it was too early for the self-ult from what I saw in this one. Another battle on the top side. Impact with early Ninja Tabi and the piece of a Phage, taking up Huni as best he can, but he's starting to get traded on. Huni didn't teleport to get back down to the bot lane, and so he's been able to farm a little bit longer. He's been leveling up a little bit, and this lane is getting closer.
Yeah, and Huni has the innate sustain. He can keep eating those oranges. He can always orange out of any stuns. And the true damage that you get with your Burning Blade passive, every time you kill off a powder keg, it resets it. You can continually get these really good trades, and he's done a good job of it. And I think that things are going to continue to go more his way, but Meteos looking to put a stop to that.
Looking for the play onto Huni once again. They won't get the CC.
Yeah, once you have that Phage, and you end up just killing off a minion, you get to run away pretty quick.
So far, so good. Impact gets the cannon. Okay, that's good. It was tight for a second. But look at this. Meteos spending a lot more time topside than he normally does, but he knows it's a good matchup, and he's been able to steal away.
Sneaky's roaming mid. He's going to play this like an Ashe and go for the pick onto Pobelter.
Hits one,
Has
hits
no flash.
two. This is bad news bears for Jensen. The snipes are all there, and not a single skill shot was missed. The retreat is in, and a nice second kill for C9. Looking good in game 4.
But they're going for the first turret here and going to be able to get a lot of gold back. And is that roam really even worth it? Yes, it's going to be a turret trade, but I think Immortals is pretty okay with that.
Yeah, and they actually split it between Wild Turtle and Rainover instead of giving it to just one member.
It is 400 bonus gold for first turret, but it's 450 gold for a kill with an assist attached. So in total advantages, it's actually plus 50 gold for C9 if you don't count denied minions here. And it's still, of course, a tight game, but it's a 1,000 lead for C9, which does not suck.
No, it does not.
Unless you're an Immortals fan, then it's not great.
Turtle, this is actually pretty risky. Turtle has no flash, and they know that from that last play on bot side. And Smoothie actually has his Tahm Kench ultimate. They could look to go in and get something done here. Will they try? No, Meteos is going to base.
Meteos is flash if he wanted it. Ooh, that was close.
Smite to 34. Actually could have almost got it with that flourish.
The deadly flourish came
no sneaky
through.
W today.
It was close, though. You've seen him before. Right now, Huni's still withstanding in the top lane, though. Down 10,
Turret.
but really down 4.
Pretty close. Yeah, it's going down. And that's really what Impact has been earning through his advantage, is just this turret chip, which will eventually equate to a turret for him if his team helps him out a little bit, or he gets a good enough trade to push Huni out of the lane.
And he bought some stock options, and they're going to pay off pretty soon. But
It's pretty funny, though, consider the fact that Impact is actually up CS and has First Blood and is down gold.
yep.
Because of the cull, because of the GP passive.
Hashtag gangplank things.
Yeah, and this gold advantage will actually be made up by the Cull popping and having those last 40 used on it. So if everything just stays the same, eventually Immortals catch up.
The gold is not always everything that matters here, of course.
not.
Experience going to be important. Map control is important, and how your competition plays against itself obviously going to be relevant as well, and we'll see how that plays out. Immortals going to swap their dual lane to the top side and say, hey, this turret's really low. Let's delay that going down. Yes, you got it 10%, but that doesn't mean anything on its own unless you get the rest of that damage. So we'll send Turtle and Adrian up against Impact. You don't get turret damage anymore.
Impact does do a lot of damage, though. We'll see what happens
Jensen
here.
could teleport.
Look at the turtle. Oh, the stun?
W not going to land onto him. He went a little bit early, honestly. It wasn't prime just yet. And Meteos just says, hi, I'm here. I'm just for Impact. He fell off the ward.
Also missed his Q, and look at a lot of C9 members kind of cheating up towards the top side, and it's Huni getting alone time in the bot side. He's actually a level up now and pushing in very quickly, so C9 needs either base or make something happen.
Yeah, Impact needs to base and get there, and they need the wave clear right here.
They're going.
They're going for a flank.
They're going for the flank indeed. Here they come. Jensen could teleport if he needed to. There's the dive in. Smoothie in the front line. Pops the gray health, and there is Jensen in the back line. Teleport to me, but look at the damage on the back. They picked up Turtle, and Adrian so low as well. But look at the damage back on Impact. Eating up Smoothie, trying to keep him alive. He's tasty. Looking for the barrels, but it's only going to be a Q on a Jensen, but the snipe does come through. Nicely done by Elise. Rainover picks up one, and it's a 1-1 trade so far. The
Huni's
health
got some
bar
barrels.
is very, very low. Huni tried to mind game. I think the auto attacks didn't quite have it, though. And no barrel explosion here. Quick heals out of Tarek. Everyone up in this lane. Wave control by Immortals.
Impact and Meteos both have globals to get back here. And there they go. They're going to flank.
Looking for the play. Impact going to teleport in as well. This could be man advantage C9. Quick stun on Impact. They get the jump, and they pick him off. Beautifully done, Immortals. Turn it in, and now it's a bad situation for Meteos. Thankfully had his flash. Doesn't matter. Huni gets the chase down. 2 more kills for Immortals.
And disaster strikes for Cloud9. They had an advantage, and then they just threw it away, and Immortals come up huge off of that. Impact's been playing so well this series, but that kill right there changes a whole lot of how this game looks.
They've got to dodge away from Cobelter, and they've got to give away this turret as well. So overall, that kill score went 3-1 in favor of Immortals, and they got the top lane out of turret. And look at that gold lead. It's a pretty big one for Immortals.
It was a good try at a play there for Cloud9, but they were honestly just disjointed. The two guys who were running in were much earlier. You know, the TP and that Meteos ultimate, they were much before the rest of the team, and it's an easy turn there for Immortals to make.
And it's a good skill shot from Rainover to land the cocoon, and then the follow-up from Cobelter.
Yeah.
Talia does a lot of damage if she's able to actually push you across the unraveled ground.
And here it is, once again, the initial play. Very nice from Cloud9 as Jhin ulti opens up. In goes the Tahm Kench, and the Tarek ulti does a fantastic job to buy time. He knew that they were going to get collapsed on. He does it early. Jensen, though, coming in, takes out Turtle.
And then on the back line, Huni is finally here. And then the pickup from long range. Immortals end up killing Smoothie there off of Rainover, and then they just pressure. And this is the right idea. Look at how low they are on Immortals' side. The TP comes through, but it's just really well countered.
At the same time, Lissandra is very low. Sneaky does not really have the ability to get right in there, and Impact tries to go forward, looks for the sidestep, not able to get it, just gets absolutely deleted. He was just way far ahead of the team. Look at Jensen and Sneaky, they're not even close. And then Meteos is still going in after Impact is already dead. That was a big mistake from Cloud9 and throwing away what was an advantage.
Yeah, if Impact was able to actually get the parallel convergence there, he's rather safe because he has his chrono break.
Well, they're going to go for this.
There.
Jensen's coming down.
He's in a bad spot. He's going to get stunned. Doesn't find any oranges to eat. Gets him a little bit late, and then the ulti comes in right back afterwards. Good patience by Jensen, and the kill comes through. C9 back on the board, up and kill.
Really nice roam there by Jensen, and good coordination to wait for that W to be used before he pops Lissandra ult. No chance really for Huni. Still, turret goes down in the mid lane. Gold lead is in Immortals' favor.
Walter flashes to not be chain slowed. I think it was the right choice. I knew he was in a bad spot. But keep in mind, Walter managed to knock down that mid lane outer turret as the payment for the bot lane roam. Jensen was out of lane, so his turret took damage, and now it's Immortals. Look, they press all the lanes all the time, and if you gank one, your turrets fall somewhere else. Pressure in top tier 2, but they retreat.
And they know they're a little bit safe here because Smoothie doesn't have his ultimate, no chance of a flank and somebody being picked up and brought down here. But bottom lane, Impact, alone time with the turret. When he really wanted to complete some items.
He is working his way on that turret and getting some good damage in, but it's Huni up 1,500 gold at this point.
Yeah.
On the gangplank, getting very strong, and Impact still hasn't even completed his training force.
Yeah, the Dark Seal, a little bit of a detour there. And then you can see he's got 3 things that you would consider starting items. So really invested in the early game. You saw him bullying Huni. He was doing his job. But then Huni, Cole pops, 1,500 gold advantage. Gangplank definitely online now.
And a battle for the Infernal Drake here. Huni could have ulted to save the bot lane turret some health, but saves it so that he can use it in this impending team fight. Smoothie around the wing, but look at the damage output, and it's not even a chance. Rainover smite's a bit late, but he gets the kill all the same. Infernal Drake in for Immortals.
And we've seen it both times now. People are actually blocking the Deadly Flourish from coming through. It's hitting Adrian in the previous one, and this time it hit Rainover, just body blocking whatever side that Sneaky's on.
Stops on champion hit.
And part of the problem was the disjointed backs. Impact took the time to work on that turret, doesn't get the turret, and then doesn't have time to actually base, buy up his Trinity Force, and come back because his TP was still on cooldown as they were going for the Infernal, and not having those items for the team fight meant they just couldn't go for it.
The price he paid for trying to knock down the bot lane turret, and yes, he got 85% of it, so soon, top lane outer and bot lane outer very close to dying for C9's favor.
Yeah, Impact are doing a lot of work for this team in terms of getting them these turrets, but it's not going to equal any gold until you actually take 100% of its HP. So, right now, it's kind of, it's work that'll pay off eventually.
One thing you also have to kind of keep in mind in this game is normally there's a lot more tanks on teams like this with Immortals, right? So Infernal Dragon is worth less because it's AD AP. This is almost all damage across the board. Look at the damage on Rainover. He's building a lot of AP. Obviously, there's tons of AD from your top laner, AD carry, and your mid laner. So it's 4 members that are getting a massive bonus from this double Infernal, and that's very scary. It's a lot more worrying.
Speaking of very scary, yeah, it's a battle for the Freljord supremacy and flashing away. Wild Toto says, you can have the land for now. I'll come take it back later.
It's too much challenger with you.
That was great, though.
Yeah, it was.
Well, Poboter getting his harass on. Media's forced to run away from this one. High cooldown reduction on this Talia. 30% in items and wants to throw another rock.
So Jensen now has that Proto Bell completed. He's pretty far up here. Oh, he's actually trying to TP out. Will he get caught?
Didn't catch him exactly, and Turtle doesn't have his ultimate to catch him either.
I don't even think they saw the teleport because he was outside the ring of that Gangplank ultimate. That felt like a strange miss. I think Huni should have probably targeted the brush himself. Not sure what happened there, but now...
Maybe get a little bit of the minions too.
Yeah, that might have been part of the reason. Well, missed the barrel chain actually. Huni making a couple of small misplays, but here comes the Weaver's Wall, and Impact does get HUD off. Where's the teammates?
Well, he's going straight to Tom Kench. So
yeah, he's got his own teammates.
It's actually pretty good.
Rainover getting to the top side. Uh-oh, Rainover has to flash away from this one. Nearly got tongue lashed for the slow.
Good calm play there from Impact. Just immediately reacts, runs up, jumps over the wall. No problem whatsoever dealing with that Pobelter roam. On the other side, getting that flash from Rainover. Flash down on him, flash down on Pobelter, flash down on Turtle. We'll see if C9 can make them pay as all their flashes are available.
It's a real possibility here. You've got finally the turrets coming through. C9 still working back from a gold deficit. Gold as well as Drake, keep in mind, but there was no local gold for that top turret going down, so only the 100 per person, not any of the local. 250 gold missed by that. Ooh, Cocoon's gonna land on Meteos. There's the
Flying.
knockback seismic shove, and he says, don't worry, buddy, I got you. I'm so glad that someone named after food is playing an eating-based champion, by the way. That's a nice synergy there for Smoothie.
Is he playing the sushi chef skin?
Yes, he is.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. He's got like the triple synergy then.
I know, even the right skin.
It's a trifecta.
He should play Baker Morgana next. And we all think for other food-based skins, and none of us can come up with any.
Well, Pantheon needs one.
I
They
know.
could Be a baker.
Oh, well.
This hasn't happened.
One day.
There's some
Maybe,
other ones too. I mean, like,
maybe after Yoga Pants Dragons.
okay.
Alrighty, so get back to the game.
Yeah. It's a tight one, though. It is a very tight one.
It is.
Immortals are winning, but it doesn't really feel like it. C9 have sort of had the better of the plays right now, and these turrets are very close to falling back and forth. But mathematically, you expect Immortals to be doing quite well in this one. A lot of that gold lead being from Gangplank himself, though. He's kind of printed free money that isn't really performance-based, just shows up in the scoreboard. And performance-wise, these teams have been pretty close here in this one, but Immortals need to win this one to bring us to our Game 5 here, just like Europe had, just like Korea had.
The 15-game dream.
The 15-game dream.
Yeah, these fights are going to be very, very dangerous because there are so many squishy players, and it means that they become very explosive fights. People on both sides can die almost instantaneously if they get put into a bad spot. You get caught by an arrow or a cocoon from Immortals, you're going to die just like that. But at the same time, if Jensen comes in with the right roam, if Tom Kench can get those flanks, you can see the exact same thing happen right to Immortals.
Yeah, both teams really want to play for pick, and honestly, whoever gets caught out or doesn't have the proper vision, fight will most likely go their way because they'll blow somebody up.
Curtain call comes in as Meteos is running away, but now the battle between Impact and Huni. Ball of the Mortius pops, and Huni's got the health bar to deal with this. Impact running away a little bit low. Cocoon, I believe, missed Smoothie, but he's okay after the dazzle, flashing out, staying alive.
Hobelter.
I think missed the flash over the wall. He was looking for a way in.
Yeah, I think he wanted to flash the wall and then Weaver's wall from that part where he would have flashed over to the red buff
And make the
cut
cutoff.
him off.
Didn't happen.
Still, it's key that Huni is just getting more of an advantage in the sides. And you can see that Impact is not building for the 1v1. He's building a Spirit Visage. He has a Spirit Visage completed that is not really going to help him very much against the Gangplank, who is going to be dealing so much physical damage in addition to the true damage from his passive. Will give Huni a big edge in the split push where he's already winning.
I agree, it could be really scary, and even though the Echo was the matchup picked into the Gangplank, the insta-locked with literally 0 seconds passed from Huni. They knew they wanted that champion. Impact said, that's okay, we'll play Echo into it. And so far, it has not quite paid out.
Yeah.
He's gotten turret pressure, he has that. The turret score is equal thanks to Impact's exploits, but it might turn.
It's one of the things where these matchups can sometimes tilt very heavily off of the early game. And if Impact is playing this matchup against someone who's not quite as good as Huni is at surviving in the early game, maybe he's just used to killing that guy and getting a big advantage, right? And winning like that. But when Huni plays it well, he survives, he just starts scaling, and it can become very tough.
And you have to be very familiar with that matchup because you keep seeing how low Huni gets. And a lot of the times, Echo is front-loaded in his damage, where he gets those first 3 procs off of the E and the Q, and then his remaining damage is really just chase down. If you are able to actually keep your composure and then trade back effectively as Gangplank, you know, get your auto attack, get a barrel, get another auto attack in there, you can actually make it even. But most people will panic in those situations because they saw themselves get chunked.
And one of the nice things about the interactions in pro play compared to your generic online game is the game's a bit slower paced, so a long cooldown like Ball of Mortius will almost always come back up for Huni when he needs it in these battles. Now the Weaver's Wall trying to cut them off, but Smoothie runs real fast, but he's going to walk into an arrow, tanks it, Weaver's shoved back in, and that's going to be the assassination. Can't even pop the Grey Health shield. And this means a power play now for Immortals. Rek'Sai going to ult back on the map. Take it away.
They also have to be very careful because Sneaky lost his flash just before that play. So they're down a support. Their AD carry has no one to bail him out. He's going to have to play it very safe.
Hides from a 600 damage barrel chain as the mid lane 2-2 is down. Immortals looking poised to take game 4. A 3,000 gold lead. Not anything to sneer at, absolutely.
And now Huni's at the point where whenever you group up with this Gangplank, he's kind of starving the rest of your team because he's just taking all the farm. He's 2,000 gold up now.
Oh, they're going for a TP. They're looking for Turtle here.
Looking for the play. Poboth actually gets picked off thanks to Jin, and they're looking for a little bit more. Turtle's going to walk into the stun. He's going to try to sneak around the side, and he will survive this one. Impact running out of HP a little bit. Adrian gets the invulnerability off. Then the re-snipe comes through. Sneaky gets some damage in. Can't get the Cocoon onto Meteos, who also can't quite snipe the Raptor away.
And that's part of the problem with building so Magic Resist heavy. Turtle able to force Echo back very easily as Impact just does not have a tankiness to actually survive this guy when he has his completed IE plus the Hurricane, had his QSS as well, so could have gotten out of that stun. And Turtle playing it safe, playing it smart, no summoners blown.
I'm also interested to see how Pobelter got picked off, because he didn't have his flash from before, but it looks like he wouldn't have had much time to react either.
Oh, Jin.
Kill does go over to Sneaky.
Yeah, and then Impact on the backside. They can't get that kill, but Pobelter smart to not even waste his cleanse. The mid lane matchup starting to tilt pretty heavily towards Jensen, up 2 levels, up 50 CS, and that's one of the problems on Talia is if you cannot have effective roams, if you cannot get effective Weaver's Walls, your in-teamfight power is generally lower than another champion, such as Jensen on this Lissandra, who has that powerful ultimate in the teamfight.
Yeah, now he has a Proto Belt too for even more burst or closing that gap to get the ultimate off. So seeing even more power come through, and Sneaky.
Dangerous, gets away though, kicks the arrow, then Smoothie eats him and runs out of this
he hit
one.
Sneaky with
Look
the
at a
two.
lot of damage though. A big barrel chain, Rainover gets a rampage, getting a kill for himself, and in comes the backline threat. It's a trade in though. It's about Meteos, it's about Jensen, it's about the curtain call, picking up one, a killing spree. Pobelter down under 1,000, trading back and forth. Jensen low, but he finds Rainover yet again. Impact burns down, one last auto attack, makes it a trade kill. Adrian running for dear life, 3 lost from Immortals, only 2 lost for C9, advantage to the blue side, hoping to come back in this game 4.
Yeah, and when you don't have a frontliner on your team, everybody's just diving Wild Turtle in the backline. This is a team of divers on Cloud9 with Jensen and Impact both putting pressure on your AD carry. You can't leave them alone.
And the Tom Kench huge again in that fight, getting Sneaky out. And honestly, Huni timed his barrel chain perfectly out of that
Yeah.
W. Was very, very nice. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been even close. But the problem with engaging hard onto Jin is that he can always turn around with that ultimate. And let's see it once again here. The GP ulti gets dropped. Ash Arrow gets nailed. But there is Smoothie. And look at this barrel chain. So well timed. It does crit him. But as Sneaky lives, even if he has 1 HP, he opens up with a Jin ulti. And watch how effective he is from back here. He lands the root on a Rainover, opens up, and nails shot after shot. Takes down Huni, pushes Pobelter out of the fight. Great stuff from Sneaky.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the early adopters. He was the Jin guy when it first came out and really just put the time in on this champion. You could see how well-versed he is.
It's one of the things he's really known for is adapting and picking up these champions very quickly
Kalista,
because he's
like,
always
yeah.
in on the solo queue, playing so many games. Exactly. Kalista, another big one he was known for.
Yeah, he's really never averse to change at all. He's always willing to try the new thing. And, oh man, it's paid off for him.
Absolutely has. Sneaky, one of the very best AD carries in North America, and has been since he ever joined the LCS back in 2013. He's always been a household name. He's now got an extra carry in Jensen, who's 2-0-5 himself, and C9 maybe looking to close out this series here.
And add in the Void Staff for Jensen. This guy is massive now. The burst potential with that Proto Belt plus the Void Staff completed is going to be so big. And he has the Zonias. He's level 16, has that rank 3 ultimate. Very, very strong here. And a lot of it is going to come down to, can they land the Ash Arrow on the correct target? Can Huni land these barrel chains? Very tense team fights here.
Wave clear still coming through. Someone's got to answer that, and Impact is sent to the bot side without teleport up to answer Huni. So global advantage right now for Immortals. In fact, Huni not even going to use global, just going to roam up to mid, look for the play. Vito's running away.
And they need to get dominance over this side. So Immortals are clearing out the jungle, warding it up, and making sure that they can go towards this Infernal Drake, which would be their third of the game.
Jin ulti coming out. Turtle dodging well.
Cloud
feet.
Drake, happy feet, gets away from 3. Worth it, absolutely. Immortals making the sly moves out, but Rainover's in a bit of danger. Here comes
Impact.
the dive, ulti in, Cosmic Radiance buys some time. Stun up Sneaky, but there's the eat, but Jensen is low. He's got to be careful. Selflow gets away from Cocoon. Huni is low on health. Mob Pop's trying to get the damage exhausted. They can't quite kill the front line. Impact is low. Huni gets one into Jensen. Impact re-engages, trades the kill in, and takes out his life.
The wall.
Now the Weaver's Wall. Pobelter really wants this, but there's base gates right there. It's going to be C9 able to walk out of this one, but it does mean map control. 2 dead from C9. It's a power play. 4v3. It should mean Immortals takes this third Infernal Drake.
Yeah, and the Infernal is massive. We talked about it earlier. They are getting into these late game stages where they're getting so much bonus AP AD, and does Cloud9 want to just try to do anything about this? Doesn't look like they can. It's going to go over quickly and easily. 2 Immortals, 4 Dragons to 0. Triple Infernal could be what decides this game.
24% more AD and AP. And you were talking about how specifically for this team, Huni plays those carry top laners. It just helps him so much with the barrels. Right here, 700 crit onto the tank. Has to go back. Impact gets out of there. Another crit comes out. And now Jensen ulties, and they can't kill Huni in this time. He gets another barrel as soon as Jensen comes out. Pop! 480, or 840 on that one.
And so much of it is because it's Immortals with the initiative. They're putting the engage in onto C9, so Jensen is having to defensively ult himself instead of being in the back line. It's really about who gets that first catch, and it was Immortals first to the punch there, and they are rewarded heavily.
Absolutely they are. Immortals 3,000 gold up, triple Infernal Drake up, Cloud Drake up.
And honestly, Huni is just having a great game on this one. He's, you know, people say he gets really tilted. The last 2 games would be enough to tilt any top laner, but right now he's playing strong, has a large advantage.
I've also got to say a lot of credit deserves by Adrian, who has been so on point with his Taric ults. It's actually not been that noticed because he's been so good with it. Reignover may get caught.
Looking for the dive, they stun up Sneaky thanks to the Cocoon. Reignover running out of health, gets the Cosmic Radiance in time.
Again!
Sneak out, will stay alive, but no kills either side. Health bar lead, to be honest, for Cloud9, so they're looking to go in, but Meteos, be careful, low on health. Ooh, has to flash away from the seismic shove. Barrel blown up by Huni, just kind of got to walk away on this one.
Whether it's Soraka or Taric, that ult is going to annoy you if Adrian's on the other side of it, because he is just playing so well, like you were saying, Azael.
It's one of those things where most of the time when you notice it, it's because they messed it up. And you're
Yeah.
never noticing it because he's never messing it up. Every single Taric ult has been well-timed, has been in anticipation of the opponent's engages, and really has been what's keeping them in these fights.
And a lot of these supports aren't very flashy as well. Like Trundle's been traded back and forth.
Far out here.
Knock up, rooted. Oranges are down. Look at the damage output. Oh my
TP from
word!
behind.
Picks off 1 TP. Why would you ever bother using it? It's a 5v4 at this point. Pobelter cuts off the reinforcements anyway, and Impact is now stuck in the top.
That's so
side.
jungler. They want the Baron.
Impact is on the other side.
They're looking.
This is tense. Look for the play. Great smite. Picks it up. That's Baron now for Immortals, and another kill picked up. That is 2 off the field. Baron buff, 5v3, 30 seconds.
Giant minion wave top as well. They might be able to catch Jensen. It'll be really tough.
I think dodge away from 1. E gonna be used.
Oh, the
and-
Cocoon.
Ooh, nearly got the Mad Life on the Cocoon. Jensen gonna sell Volt, gonna buy some time, a lot of damage. Adrian, you gotta drop down. Jensen picks up 1 and is able to get saved out by Smoothie. Beautiful escape by Jensen to take 1 and get out, but it is still a power play. It is 4 versus 3. Meteos respawning right now. Baron buff means inhibitor turret, and now 4v4 for the inhibitor itself. Just disappears in the blink of an eye.
And Sneaky was pushing bot lane. He wasn't even there to contest. They couldn't delay whatsoever. C9 looking like they may want to try to go for a chase, but can they really catch him? I don't think so.
Huni has ulti to help the disengage happen. He's got
Extra
barrels to
speed.
blow up.
Yeah.
It looks like it will be.
Basing.
Empowered recall.
Ooh. Yeah. That was really well played. Immortals did exactly as much as they needed to get away with. Unlucky that Adrian died, but take the Baron and inhibitor off a single kill is huge.
Certainly is, and once again, blocking from all sides. No mistake at all on that smite there from Reignover. He nails it, and Cloud9 looking a little bit desperate.
Yeah, and right before this, Jensen and Impact were both teleporting, but Jensen canceled his because as soon as he saw Meteos go down, he's like, okay, this isn't worth doing anymore. But it looked like he didn't get the memo that they were still going to try to contest it. And beautifully timed there. Smoothie gets him out.
I also didn't catch that it was the Proto Belt the first time
Yeah.
around that actually killed him
Proto
off
Belt
there.
got him.
So nice little trade. They do pick him up. One thing going to Cloud9, at least they can't get any more Infernals, but they can get the Elder Dragon.
Neither
which
can see
I
now.
guess
it up.
kind of, yeah, gives them even more.
36% bonus attack damage and ability power. That sounds fun and easy to deal with. If they can get it for themselves, Elder Dragon spawns in under 2 minutes. Bottom lane under fire. Huni will run out of health eventually.
Arrow hit
getting quite
Sneaky.
low. Yeah, but they can just save him. The Astro's been almost nothing in this game.
Yeah, they do get the Taric ulti there, and they do get the GP ulti, so if C9 can heal back up, they could look to go for something because that's 2 critical ults down for Immortals, and it was just the Jhin ulti that was traded.
All right, maybe they find the opening here.
Jensen
Baron
looking
buff
for the
still
flank.
on. Jensen, yeah, coming down through the
They
jungle.
want this fight.
Can they
He's
get
gonna
it
look
though?
for Turtle.
He's very close. Goes in. Looks for the damage. Gets CC'd. Good counterplay comes out from Immortals, and this is not going to be a good fight for Cloud9. They're going to lose 1 already. How many more will it be? Turtle picks up Impact. Here comes the front line dive. Sneaky gonna flash. Stay alive for now. Look for a bit of trade damage, but it just does not seem to matter. It is Sneaky against the world, and his world is collapsing. The tunnel is darkening, and Immortals looking to close this one out and bring us to the all-important Game 5 as the Nexus turrets fall. It will be the game. It will be the 2-2 scoreline, and Immortals just might get vindication for last split as they look to make their first finals.
And a complete 180 there for the performance of Immortals. Huni especially, shut down before, absolute carry in this game. Huge advantage over his lane opponent. And Immortals strike back and rip up the history books, if only for another match.
Huni was definitely a massive damage dealer that game, doing about double everyone else on his team's damage.
Yep.
And the fact of the matter is, though, so many of those plays were coming down to Adrian. So much of the onus was on him to keep the Squishy team alive. He played it incredibly well, including the Dazzle, perfectly timed stun on Jensen as he comes in. And that could have looked very different. He was in the middle of 4 Immortals. If he gets off his W self-ult, that could be a very easily won fight for Cloud9.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, all of the pick potential was used incredibly well. Adrian with the Dazzle, and then Rainover with some very key cocoons in this game.
Yeah.
The one that blew up Impact when he tried to gank the top lane afterwards with that TP, just really stopping everything that Cloud9 wanted to do. And Game 5,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see, especially the draft, because people have been trading champions back and forth. Some things have worked, but Gangplank, high priority right now.
Right. And another 1,000 damage game per minute, by the way. 44,000 damage in like a 37-minute game here. Huge performance, as you guys mentioned, from Huni. Massive performance. So we are going to Game 5. The series going the distance. It's going to be amazing. So let's toss it down to the analyst desk. Just talk about that one.
Thank you very much, Freak. And Zyrene says he wants to see Game 5 champ select. I want to talk about Game 4 champion select, the equalizer here for Immortals 2-2, since we are going to that Game 5. Crumbs, typically in best-of-5 series, we talk about how the winning team, they've got priority in champion select. They should be looking to do almost the same thing and force the other team to react and adapt to them. However, this time around, a very different draft out of C9.
Yeah, and the one thing that I would have liked to see out of them is stick to the NAR. It worked so well for Impact this series. It worked awesome in the Envy game. And you know it's a strong matchup into the GP. You can get even kills, and that's supposed to be good for Gangplank in the early game if you only dies 1 or 2 times. But going with a new pick with the Echo, and the laning phase just wasn't that great. You know, the matchup, you're looking to get a snowball similar to how it is with the NAR, with the Trinity Force advantage. But I just find that Impact has a lot more influence in the game as NAR.
Yeah, I think he misplayed a little bit too. His first TP back, he TP'd right in the middle of a creep wave that was pushing back into him to force a trade onto the GP, and he ended up having to blow all his charges right away from his corrupting potion. And it just overall looked like a different comfort level than we've seen him on NAR, where he's turning 2v1 dives around on enemies. And here it was like he couldn't even have a CS lead versus Impact. And it really was detrimental to how that game went, because we were saying, if the Lissandra can get her own top, you can start snowballing through there, but it never felt like they were prepared to do that.
Now, Jensen had a very tough time getting out of lane against that Talia. Even when he was able to clear the wave, Talia can clear it just as fast, so he's not given too much permission to actually leave the lane and help out his side lanes. With that came Immortals' objective control, right? We saw all these Infernal Dragons picked up by Immortals with little to no contest out of C9, either just not being in position in time or not feeling like they can fight in the early game.
Well, that's the thing. Immortals keeps making plays around lanes, and it's a lot easier to convert into an objective if you are playing around the lane, because once the fight is over, you can either push the turret or go to the nearest objective, and it's a lot easier as opposed to setting up a play in the jungle. Then who do you split off? You got to address the waves, then you have to go and decide the objectives, who goes where, timing the recalls, and as long as they keep sticking to that, that's why it seems so easy for them when they just out of nowhere explode a lead, because they're in a position where they can get more.
I think C9 needs to just do a better job overall of converting early kills and early pressure into objectives. They don't often get the first turret, despite the fact that they'll get the first blood or something, other than Game 1 where they got that. I don't think they've gotten first turret the rest of the series. And you saw them go mid, get 3 kills, but they lost bot turret for it, which basically neutralizes. I mean, the turret first blood gold is a kill, essentially. Yeah. So it does seem like C9 needs to get a better focus on those objectives, especially when it's triple Infernal, as that game turned out to be.
Right, very much so. And of course, in this game, we did see the classic Immortal style actually, succeed here. Where in the past couple games, C9 has had or found a way to deal with some of that aggression. Here, it was very clear that Immortals put on full throttle, said we're not gonna lose our semifinal series without playing at least one Immortal-style game, and we see just that. 15 minutes into the game, Cloud9 opting into a re-engage here off of Immortals' aggression, and it's going to go very poorly for them.
It starts with the TP from both from pretty much everybody into this fight, and the Gangplank ultis can just do so much zoning, and it's just so easy for them to pick up person after person because they're all grouped up together. And once you have that numbers advantage and you have the cooldown advantage, which is so significant in these fights, you can just aggress regardless of your HP.
It seemed like a fight that C9 was going to win with that flanking
really
Lissandra, but the thing was the front line of C9 all took so much damage early that despite the fact that Jensen was able to blow up an enemy carry basically right away, they had no one to follow up, and then this re-engage was just a total disaster.
Yeah, it was some very strange decision making. As you mentioned, it looked like a fight that Cloud9 was poised to win based on the setup, the initial setup of the fight, but just not necessarily pulling off the execution that they needed or being totally in sync. Frontliners taking too much damage before Jensen can get in.
And you know, that's not the first time this game that, or the only time this game that Impact had very just bad TPs flat out, where it's just out of coordination with the team, kind of trying to looking to make a solo play, whereas teleport is meant to be used for something with the team. We saw him try to teleport into the Wraith camp by himself, trying to maybe 1v2, again, resulting to nothing, and that slows down the game significantly because in the matchup against Gangplank, once you're that TP down, you're not going to send Lissandra to deal with GP. You're counter-picking yourself. Right. It makes no sense, so it slows down the tempo, and if you have an advantage, it's just giving Immortals more time to grow that GP.
All right, well, I want to jump to our next replay. This is going to come 34.5 minutes into the game. Immortals with a pick on Immedios and taking the Baron off of the jungler kill.
I mean, this is the power of GP. 1,100 damage crit, pretty insane.
Respect it.
Yeah, so.
Well, you got 2 Infernal Drakes at this point. Everyone on this team is doing insane damage.
I mean, that's the thing is sometimes you say Infernal Drake's not that great because you have like 2 tanks in the jungle and a tank support, and there's only 2 people benefiting from the stat boost. You have a damage-dealing jungle, top, support, AD carry, and mid laner, so. That was just an insane team comp to get that many Infernal Drakes. The Baron's basically free after that. Impact tries to go flying in, but it's just, you're not going to steal that away from that team. So that was kind of the back-breaking moment in the game, but they've been struggling, C9, to really win fights decisively.
All right, so here we go. We're going to our 5th game, gentlemen. Immortals gets the side choice for being the higher seed here in the 5th game. They have opted for that blue side, so swapping once again. Cloud9, though, has won on the red side, right? So we have seen evidence of Cloud9 winning on both. Both teams have now, actually, at this point, given this victory here. But Cloud9 being on the red side, they know that they can at least achieve victory. So in terms of side selection, they should at least have confidence and comfortability in that side selection. My question to you guys is, C9, Immortals, Chrome, C9, how do they win?
How does Cloud9 win?
How does Cloud9 win? And then Mark gets to argue for Immortals.
Asking the tough question.
Let's go. Is this a tough question? Do you think Immortals has it? Is that what you're telling me?
No. All right, so I think for Cloud9, what they have to do is just remember to stick on these characters that allow Jensen to be more impactful in the map, because right now, Lissandra, while she's such a powerful pick, against Taric, against Tahm Kench, it's so difficult to actually do anything. All it takes is one ultimate from Taric, and Lissandra's window for engaging is already thrown out the window. Same with Tahm Kench. You don't have anybody to pick off, and I don't like to see him on these picks that are just so reliant on the early game. We saw him on the LeBlanc earlier on, and you know, he's had such an impact on things like the Syndra. The Syndra, even though it was banned this time around, the sides are switched, so we can see him on a different pick. We can see him on the Zillion, which were widely more successful, and I think that has to do directly with the wave clear.
Okay. I think a big thing for Immortals would just be the top lane. This was one of the games where Huni was the one with this matchup that's going to outscale, and Impact couldn't pressure him hard enough. I think if they try and not go so focused heavy on Snowball and just get him a good matchup on a champion that's going to be useful later in the game, because Huni has this like amazing ability to just take over a game with like the perfect flank. He somehow blows people up with his GP that you normally don't see, the way he just blows up Meteos and gets his team Baron. Right. I want to see him on champions that can do that. And I know Kennen can kind of do that, but it's not exactly meta. I just want to see him on something that's a threat throughout the whole game.
He's a uniquely positioned player because we have both seen him play the aggressive Riven types and take a game over from start to finish. But we've also seen him play those late game carries, have the impactful TPs to completely swing a team fight. So he does kind of have the ability to play both ways, but you think that they'll find more success as a team here in Game 5 if he plays that later game, team-oriented, impactful pick.
Yeah, none of these games have been blowouts. Really. Right. Every game has been close. I think you can go into Game 5 saying, this will probably be a close game. Let's not go on some snowball, ride or die kind of pick.
All right, well now I'm going to put you on the spot and actually have you make a prediction. Since we came down to Game 5 here, impromptu prediction, who's walking away, moving on to the finals in Toronto?
Of course, you're closer to death.
Okay, Mark,
I'll go first.
Yeah, Mark,
Sit on Immortals.
Bo.
There you go, yeah.
Now, who do you think it's going to be? Come on.
I actually think I'll go with C9. I think It really does come down to that top lane. Every game has seemingly been decided by that, and I think it's just the matchup and how well each of them individually play.
Okay, so do you think that Impact will shore up whatever weaknesses were shown or exposed here in Game 4, get back onto the likes of a Gnar and have a good game?
I think they ban GP and they go for an early pick Gnar, and then from there I haven't seen anything out of Huni that really says, like, I'm going to smash your Gnar.
All right, so C9 here. Who are you going with?
Coming into this, I thought that Immortals would be the one taking the series 3-2, and I'm going to stick by that because while they have faltered in the entire series in a couple of the games that looked really shaky from individual performances, I think that the fact that they're able to actually control every single game regardless of being ahead or behind, to me, speaks as being the stronger team in the early and mid game, that I think that for Cloud9 to win, they have to get such a monumental lead that Immortals cannot capitalize, because it's such a red flag for me if Cloud9 is getting the advantages but is still losing the game in pressure.
All right, well, it's anybody's game, so cue up the Silver Scrapes because the deciding Game 5 between Immortals and Cloud9 starts in just 3.5 minutes.
Cloud9 takes on Immortals. C9 are 1 game away from their 5th North American LCS Finals performance in 8 splits as a team. Gets away though, kicks the arrow, then Smoothie eats him and runs out of this one. Look at a lot of damage though. A big barrel chain right over, gets a rampage, getting a kill for himself, and in comes the backline threat.
I got Lissandra. Ash. I got Echo. They're all really low. I'm moving.
Nearly got the Mad Life on the Cocoon. Jensen gonna sell full, gonna buy some time, a lot of damage. Adrian, he got a drop down. Jensen picks up 1 and is able to get safe.
Run. I stunned him. We got him. Nice.
And Immortals just might get vindication for last split as they look to make their first finals.
And a complete 180 there for the performance of Immortals.